Cal Chuchesta's Existence Explained by Malik G. In this odd world, there is a man named Anthony Fantano. He never wore camo. Reviewed music, won't rant though. One day, Anthony was reviewing an album. He had never heard of the artist, so he didn't know the outcome. As he was writing a paper comprising his thoughts, he felt a weird sensation arising. What the fuck? Anthony yelled, with other explicits. He felt indifferent, as if something had shifted. His heart was on a downward slope. He felt he had choked. He passed out an hour later when he awoke. There stood a man and Anthony both in one room. Many thoughts went through their heads, I presume. "How you doin'?" the man said in a Canadian accent. "Who are you?" replied Anthony in resent. "Hey, I was going to ask you that," said the man. "Well, I asked you first, so you answer. That's how it works, understand?" "Oh, work. I used to work down by that Pizza Hut area. Girls would want to marry ya, you know?" Anthony paused in confusion. "No, I don't. I have no idea what that meant." Well, Anthony and this man spent a while trying to figure out who each other were. But the man was perverse and seemingly incapable of saying anything explainable. He eventually figured his name to be Cal, but everything else about him was untraceable. Anthony and his girl searched the entire world, but couldn't acquire a single thing about this guy. All they knew was most of his sentences were inaudible, and he looked similar to Anthony, who knows why. Well, in a moment of poor decision-making, Anthony decided to let Cal stay there since he had a room vacant. He had no idea what kind of problem he was creating. About a week went by and Anthony grew to despise Cal and his antics, comprised of pretty much anything you'd expect from a 4-year-old brother. He was getting in the way during reviews. Every time he speaks, you're confused. The naked Nicki Minaj posters in the garage. Sleep was never great because he is opening and closing cabinets 13 hours straight, and it just perpetually rose. So Anthony finally realized that he gotta go, but I have to do this proper. So he took him to the doctor, mostly in hopes to answer the question, who is this idiot? When the doctor's affiliates took a look, they were so shocked at his resemblance to Anthony, they were shook. To Anthony's distress when they took a DNA test, and when the results came in, this guy is Anthony's long-lost twin. It just got real, so the rhyming stops here, I guess. "It can't be," Anthony told the doctor, "and it doesn't explain why he just appeared in my room." The doctor looked shocked. "What do you mean he appeared in your room?" he questioned. "What were you doing when this happened?" He continued as he examined the blood samples in a tube. "I was just reviewing an album, like always. Right after I finished, I felt sick and passed out. When I woke up, this guy was there." "What were you reviewing?" "The new Little B album." "Why does that matter?" The doctor's face turned blank. The room became so silent you could hear a needle drop to the ground. Breaking the silence, the doctor asked, "What did you rate the album?" "A 3 out of 10. It was pretty terrible," he replied. The doctor's face turned pale. "You reviewed a project done by the bass god and didn't give it a perfect score?" Before Anthony could reply, the doctor screamed sadistically and ran out of the room. Anthony stood in confusion. Cal stood with a stupid look on his face. "Hey, Anthony," said Cal, "that's kind of like a scene you would see at a movie, like Under Your Pillow, huh?" "Cal, that doesn't even make sense." "Well, yeah, I can't expect you to pay me each time I talk, you know." "That still, forget it. Let's just go." This got me nowhere. As they were driving home, Anthony heard a loud noise, almost like a tank's treads. Suddenly, an armored car turned the corner and started tailing him. A man on a mounted gun was on top. "What the hell is this?" yelled Anthony. He could hear the man say the words, "fake based detected." Freaking out, Anthony slammed down on the gas pedal. The armored car started shooting, completely destroying the back of his car. As Anthony looked around, armored cars and tanks were everywhere, just blowing shit up. Looked like he was in a video video game like Battlefield or something. What in the world was happening, he thought. He eventually lost the car tailing them, but their car was pretty shot up. He got back to his apartment and barricaded the door. His girlfriend, who was waiting on them to come back, ran in and said, "What's going on?" "I don't know," replied Anthony. "I took Cal to the doctor and I told him what happened, and then he started freaking out, so we left. Then on the way home, the SWAT team or something just came after us. It was like a scene out of Born Uranium," said Cal. "Cal," Anthony said in a panic, "we are not in a good situation, so just for once, I need you to be serious. Can you do that?" "I too like serial numbers," replied Cal as he ran into the kitchen. "I'm really starting to hate that guy." As he said this, the men from earlier started banging on the door. "Fake base nearby. Task Force 47 apprehending." He could faintly hear them say, "They're breaking in. What do we do?" Anthony's girlfriend said. Anthony had nothing. Just as soon as they thought it was all over, MC Ride and Sir Michael Rocks burst through the ceiling and shot all the bitch mob task force members, thus saving Anthony and company. "You saved us," said Anthony, "but why?" "Oh, you know why," smiled and winked MC Ride. "I helped because you fucked with Banco and gave me confidence to rap again," said Sir Michael, cutting off the awkward moment. "But the task force is still going to come after you. You got to cause another paradox to end this." "And how do I do that?" "Why don't you review the new Limpin' Bizcutti album?" said Cal as he re-entered. "Cal, that is without a doubt the..." Cutting him off, "No," said Sir Michael. "If you do something like that, time never would thought you'd do like that. It'll cause a paradox big enough to rewind time and end this." "Okay, so what do I do?" "Just get in front of the camera and do your thing." Anthony set up his camera like usual, hit record, and said the words, "Anthony Fantano here, internet's busiest music nerd, and this is my review of the Limp Bizkit album." The second he said these words, everything froze and began rewinding. Anthony passed out again. When he woke up, everything was back to normal. He looked outside and it didn't look like the apocalypse. Anthony smiled, which quickly turned to a frown when he heard someone say, "You did it! You saved the world from base! Now it's acid again!" Anthony turned in disbelief to see Cal standing there. "Why are you still here?" Anthony said. Suddenly he heard a voice saying, "You may have compensated for what you did to me, but don't think Base God just gonna let you off. Stay rare and blessed, fam." Figaro. "Isn't this great, Anthony?" said Cal. Now you and me can be roommates forever." "So what should we review next? How about the mixtape Insanity by A-Man G?" Anthony passed out again. End.